Hello everyone. Well, if it's sunny and warm in February, then I do a walk and talk. And these will increase, of course, as the weather warms up. But today is just a beautiful day, President's Day. I started at Sequoia Park back there, crowded, and almost no parking. And pretty much expect that with kids out of school and a wonderful February day. Well, lots happened since the last walk and talk I did. First of all, go Chiefs, right? I think the last one I did was I had the Chiefs hat on. Wonderful Super Bowl game. I would argue probably their best game of the season, really, when you really take a look at it. And then, just kind of reviewing what the Chiefs have done. So that's 5 AFC championships in a row, 3 Super Bowls and 2 wins on the Super Bowl. So pretty good, and I feel like they're a young, great team, and I'm very glad that we started watching them. We've made it to Arrowhead Stadium the last 2 years. One was a preseason game, and it really makes you think, hey, we ought to probably go up there and watch a live game at least once a year. I think we can probably pull that off. Still thinking about it. I'd love to do that, though. Anyway, just some quick notes here. This isn't a real active weather week. The jet stream is very strong. It's going to do basically 2 things. It's going to produce a possibility of severe weather in the southeast and what looks to be a pretty big snowstorm in the northern plains, centered up around Minnesota, but back to the Dakotas and also eastward into Michigan and points east from there. So that's interesting. For us, there's a possibility on Wednesday. I did a video last night on that. If you want to check it out, it's probably near the edge. Those are not really meant to be evergreen videos. New weather data comes in, so they do have an expiration point at some time. But I think if you're watching this today, you could probably still look at that. But I will update it tomorrow. Some of the new model data suggest there still may be a window of severe possibility, even though, even as of today, the Storm Prediction Center is not too keen on it. But these things change. So take a look at that. It'll be pretty windy, by the way, in the wake of that Wednesday night and Thursday around the Ozarks. Wind gusts over 40 miles per hour possible. And then beyond that, not real eventful weather again. So there is kind of an update on that, but make sure you check out that update. It's called Upstream Weather. That's what I just call kind of a general overview of what might be happening in the Ozarks over the next several days. So now this is a 3-day weekend, and I really kind of doubled down on practicing piano, jazz piano specifically. And what's interesting is that when you practice jazz, a lot of things come into play. Not only do you have to know your triads and your scales, but you have to know your sevenths, all the variations of the sevenths. Then you have to start looking at extensions of those chords, alterations of those chords, different types of scales besides just the major and the minor. So it can get pretty involved, and it's easy for your head to kind of explode when you're looking at this. But what I did this weekend was I just kind of doubled down a little bit and made sure that I wasn't just memorizing finger patterns. So it's very easy in jazz, if you're memorizing a chord, to just memorize where your fingers are going, but not really understanding what notes you're pressing. And that's a tough transition. I think I've been successful at moving out of that a little bit and understanding why it is that these notes work and what possible changes you can look at by hitting a series of notes. And it's all, I think, called becoming fluent, basically. If you're fluent in a song, if you have it memorized and you understand where the chords are going, you have a lot more freedom to move around and invent, which is what jazz is all about, when you have that basic understanding. So that is something that I've been really trying hard to work on more and more. And if you haven't noticed, I've been publishing songs on YouTube about once a week. I think I'm settling on maybe on Mondays, although having said that, probably not tonight. I don't know, we'll see. But every Monday or so, I might just post a song. And these are not perfect, but they are really meant for me to get myself out there, number one. And then number two, for me to listen back. And there's a lot of people on YouTube talking about how to play jazz, and the clickbait is you're doing this wrong and 5 things you need to do now and all that. Okay, those are okay. Learn these licks. Well, that's not really what I'm about. I'm really trying to understand what the notes are and why they're significant. But one thing that someone did say is that record yourself. You don't necessarily have to put it out there on YouTube. I just happen to do that. But record yourself and then go over a list of things you liked about it and things you didn't like about it. And again, the whole point was not to be perfect at it. That's a lot of people make that mistake, I think. When you learn a tune in jazz especially, you tend to memorize where your chords and where your fingers are going to go, and that's fine, but then you don't really have the fluency or the freedom to do extra things. So that complete kind of global view of a song is, I think, what every jazz player is after. And there are so many other things too, like rhythm, so it's a work in progress, that's for sure. I appreciate you letting me vent on that, but if you're curious about what I'm doing, just again go on the YouTube channel. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, again, I'm trying to boost what appears on YouTube, including this video, weather updates, I mean, in the future here, weather educational things, more on music and jazz in general, going into pop music perhaps, all kinds of personal projects I do, like making beer and apple cider vinegar. There's a whole series I have on that I made a couple years ago. So if you like the channel, like this video, subscribe. It would help me out a lot. It's not the kind of thing I like begging for, believe me. I see these people on YouTube, just the way YouTube has set up the process of them making money is for you to have to beg to subscribe. So it's a little weird, but hey, you know what? Really, I'm just asking you to do that if you like my efforts here. If you have ideas of things that you would like to see me talk about, please let me know about that as well. And I read every comment and comment back on every comment. So it's YouTube, what can I say? I think that'll about wrap it up for today's walk and talk. And get out and enjoy your last day of your 3-day weekend if you're blessed enough to have one. Check out the weather on Wednesday night, see if it's going to change any. Other than that, going under James River here. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.